Shouts out to Red Coral Universe. You're going to see us on a couple of more channels. So shout out to that. God is good. Oh, shout out to 605 adult beverages. And I did say adult, yes, adult beverages because it's infused with cannabis. So if you have a margarita or some type of tequila sunrise or something, you can mix this with it with, and it's infused with marijuana. So, well, I'm say cannabis. That's a professional word with cannabis. So you can have a delightful high day. So, shout out to those guys. Make sure you hit them up at Drink ALP6. That's where they are. Guys, we have another beautiful show for you guys today. You know I got to bring the content. You know I got to bring the people out of Houston. You know what I'm saying? So this young lady, I've been knowing her for a while. She's a fellow Southern alum. I gotta give her a hand clap for that. Because, it's only so many great universities that's out there, and only so many people are blessed to go to those, institutions. So, but I met this young lady at Southern University, and I've been following her. She was actually, this is the second time on the show, but this is when we first started. She was there. We was in the hood, you know what I'm saying? And I was scared to be in that studio, but she came to that studio. But God is good. We upgraded, so it's all gravy. But now I've been checking her out on social media, and I've been checking everything that she's been saying. You familiar with full disclosure, beloveds? I haven't heard beloved since the movie.
See,
Since the movie Beloved, but that's why I had to bring her on. So I like everybody to look, give a round of applause to Miss. I'm sorry, not Miss. Doctor. I forgot about it. We're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Doctor Amanda Materre. Hey, how you doing, Doc? Can I call you Doc, Amanda? I'm gonna call you Doc. Well, no, I gotta call you Doc because
Okay.
you know what I'm saying. You earned that title.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So how you been?
I've been great. God is good. Reflecting, healing, doing my thing. I can't complain.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So look, before we even get started, I want you to tell the people who you are.
So, my name is Amanda Materre. Although he insists Dr. Amanda Materre, I am into ed tech, cybersecurity, coding, robotics, all things STEM. I'm a huge advocate for STEM, mental health. I just happened to create I guess, a couple videos
Mm-hmm.
that were just inspirational because they were helping me. Turns out they have helped a lot of different people. So I'm blessed to be used and to be in this process overall. So that's a little bit.
That's beautiful. And then right now, I know in that cybersecurity space, this is something a big need, especially
Yes.
how AI is taking over.
Yes.
And it's not a lot of black. Well,
It's not.
it's not. Yeah, not a lot of black people in that space.
No.
I was telling somebody the other day. They was asking they want their kid to go to college, but I told them, I said, well, go to college with a purpose. And right now, the purpose is coding,
Yes.
cybersecurity,
Yes.
because everything is going to AI, and you're in that space.
Yes.
So I want to ask you this. I'm glad you said that. I want to ask you about because I was thinking about VR, virtual reality, in dating.
Mhm.
You think that would be a thing?
I think so. I think they've already kind of done that a
Mm-hmm.
couple of times. They have like Facebook has been trying out with that whole metaverse thing.
Right.
But the issue with AI is one, people are afraid of it. Some people love it, but it can only use what's already been created. So you just have to be very mindful about the privacy settings, I would say,
Okay.
about doing that. But I think it is definitely possible.
Okay.
Blacks, people of color only represent 9% of the STEM industry altogether.
That's it?
And
Wow.
that's it. And so, even more so, not as many women, and then so on and so forth. And the institutions, when it comes to funding and what's available, they don't have a degree plan set just yet. Some have, most of it's just a certificate. And so, Google has some, you do an online certificate. They've had people that have applied for different jobs, six-figure jobs.
Right.
All they did was print off their certificate, and now they have this six-figure job. And some
Right.
people have multiple. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to get into this space. It will be probably overpopulated by 2025. But if you can get in, get in.
Yeah. Why not?
It'll change your life, really.
Why not? So let's talk about full disclosure.
Oh, Lord.
Where, first of all, where did this term come from? Even though I know some people say, well, I'm being transparent, full transparency, but you have full disclosure. Where did this full disclosure, I guess, platform come from?
So I remember it was June 19th, 2019. And I was trying to bring more attention to mental health because at the time, like we've talked about mental health a whole lot more than it ever was. And then now With mental health, the focus has been going to therapy, which I was doing, going to see counselors, and I was in school at the time and all that good stuff. And I just, the first two words that popped out of my mouth was full disclosure.
Mm.
And since then, I have just been, that's been my thing. And I was like, I might as well just keep doing it because it introduces people to what's going on. And that's just how it happened. It was just the two words I just happened to say.
Well, you actually say four. Full disclosure, beloveds.
Okay,
My
that's my
beloveds.
beloveds. I don't know really know when it happened. I think I got on a tangent. I was just rolling
Right.
with it, and I said my beloveds, and so now that's the tagline everybody hits me with every time they talk to me.
Right, because I look at it when I used to like look at it all the time, and now when I look at it, I always thought you was talking about your people.
Right.
When I say your people,
Yeah.
black people and women,
Right.
right? Because and we're going to get into the dating and
do it.
stuff like that. And I know you was talking with uh, black women,
Yeah.
right? That's why I figure that's where that came from, because that was something unique. You know what I'm saying? People have their
Yeah.
different approaches on social media,
Right.
but how you had it, he's like full disclosures, beloved. First, you
Right.
say, "Let's go in prayer."
Yes.
Right? You seek the higher power first. Then you go into
What I have to say, yeah.
yeah. That's dope. So that's dope. So guys, make sure you don't copyright that. You know what I'm saying? You should copyright that
I
for
don't need to
disclosure, my
trademark
beloveds.
it because I'm over here like just in case. I will say the good things. People have been kind of respectful for the most part.
Okay.
They look for it every time people are in my DMs or my messages and saying, full disclosure. I think it's awesome. Or
Right.
every
That's
time I
dope.
hear that, I have to stop what I'm doing.
Miss Full Disclosure.
Yes.
Dr. Full Disclosure. Shout out to that. Shout out to that. So look, let me ask you this. Now we were speaking about like the dating side, and I know you used to say a lot of stuff about dating. Talk about dating a lot,
Yes.
a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot,
A lot.
a
All
lot.
the time. Yes.
Right? And do you think that right now in this culture,
Yes.
right, is it hard to date?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think it's difficult to date because social media is super, super heavy and trying to focus a lot on who you are and being authentic. We're getting to the point where we're okay with it, but it's not really a thing yet. A lot of people want to copy and paste what they've seen because they want to be liked. They're seeking that validation. So it's very difficult to, one date, and then also one of the issues is people like a piece of you, but not the whole entire part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I don't want to be single for the rest of my life. So I might be able to settle, but I'm settling for somebody who only likes that portion of me in one of my seasons or on some of my highlights, but they don't really know the full person.
Right.
So it is difficult.
And also being a doctor,
Ugh.
that's extremely difficult because now you're looking at people that. Well, I want to ask you that. How does a person date in terms of education level, right?
Okay.
If you have a doctorate degree or level of doctorate, it could be a law degree, and you're wanting to date, but most of the guys are
Right.
nowhere near that level educational.
Mm-hmm.
And you want somebody kind of equally with
Yoked,
you
yeah.
or equally yoked with you, but it's not that many options, right? How does a
Right.
person date?
When it comes to that, I feel education is one of those things. It looks good. It's still a title.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I think it changes my scope and helps build me professionally. But as a person, I still have to be developed. Being having a doctorate and all that is what I have, like a possession of mine, but it's not who I am.
Right.
And trying to differentiate between the two, I think when you try to get people that have all the accolades, they glitter and they're shiny and they look great on paper, they may not be very good as a person. So are you looking for aesthetics or sustenance? And you
Okay.
have to figure that out. And then also realizing that if your standards are too high, what are you actually looking for in that particular person?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the standard should be high, right?
Standards are high if you're able to actually honor and meet those same standards.
Okay.
I think a standard is a standard saying, hey, this is what I want, but I can also offer X, Y, and Z. When people have high standards, it's seldom that they can actually meet some of those standards.
Mm.
And I think when you start settling and we going back to those non-negotiables, when
Right.
you start settling and changing what you really want, not to put God into it, but if you want the best of the best of the best may not look and act and walk and talk like what you're probably perceiving in your mind. And so you don't want to, I guess, get in your head too much and kind of overthink it, but keep what you want in your standards and just keep your mind open to what's available.
Yeah, because I don't. I can't. Well, I can't date, because I'm married. But
I was about to say, now
because
look.
I'm married. But I'm saying it's so hard. Like I see, because everywhere I look on social media, everybody's
Hmm.
talking about dating,
You know,
or
a
they
lot of
talking about
people, and this has been most of my life, but a lot of people are intimidated by someone with a strong personality. That just is. We have this idea that black women are just Teflon strong, indestructible, and that's not it. However, we look at culture and how have we had to take care of ourselves. You know, sometimes it's our upbringing. Sometimes, you have your experiences that you've had that are crises, and you've endured those at a young age. And so it's like, life has made you tough. And so there's some men that are already. I had a guy walk up to me and he said, "Hey, what are you into? What do you do? We kind of just ran it down. If anyone asks me what I do, I usually tell them I'm a teacher
okay,
because I don't want someone feeling a certain kind of way or whatever. And I don't know if that's always the best thing to do, but I also want them to like me for me,
okay.
regardless of what I have going on." And then he was like, so then I told him what I was into, ed tech and whatever. "Oh, I think you're too smart for me."
He said that.
He said that to me.
Oh wow.
And I said, "Oh."
At least he was honest.
He was honest,
He
and I
was
was like,
honest.
but my thing is, it wasn't the fact that he said that or he didn't have the accolades or the degrees. It was, you're not confident in yourself enough to think that,
Mm,
you are able to. So all you have to offer me is knowledge. Like, so now that completely just took you out the running for everything. It was how he
wow.
looked at himself that made me think that he was not as attractive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, I never heard that before. Somebody said that.
Yeah, he said it to me.
So was he a good-looking brother?
He was cute.
He was cute, but he wasn't confident.
He wasn't confident.
Because most confident men would have been like, "Hey, all right, that's what I like."
Yeah, exactly. Or, you can add to me, girl. Whatever,
Right,
whatever.
right.
And then some guys, they think that I'm the trophy.
Okay.
Oh, you got this, so we look good on paper. I had one of them.
Right.
But it was like, what are we fighting for? What is our relationship about? Is it just about aesthetics?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I said, or are you somebody who I can actually do life with, and will you hang with me through all the seasons, or we just got to put a cute face on and make sure that we look good for the cameras and everything,
Right.
but behind that, what else is left?
Right. Right.
And so you have to make that decision of what do you think love is versus what is it really.
Let's speak about that. I want to talk about that. Like you said, some people put a cute face on,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not really that what
Right.
they present. I want to talk about vulnerability,
Oh, my favorite.
right? Because vulnerability is one of those topics. Um, I think it's still kind of complicated for people to
Very.
be vulnerable,
Yes.
right? When you use the term vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that comes to mind is you're being open,
Right.
right? Some people say vulnerability is giving,
Yes.
right? So, according to you and your experience,
Yes.
give us some experiences of vulnerability and how you overcame it.
So I say authenticity is a bridge to vulnerability.
Okay.
If I'm not comfortable with who I am, I'm not able to express it. If I don't know who I am, I'm not able to express it. A lot of the issues that we have with mental health, depression, anxiety, come from not being able to express yourself. You have trauma that you're harboring, you have anger, angst, you're struggling with your coping skills, and you didn't come from an environment that helps you. So then once you're able to surpass all that and you decide that hey, I want to love whatever it is and what I think love is, then being vulnerable is difficult if you find that your words have been weaponized. Because once you start changing and having to censor your communication and relationships, you automatically change, that part of that bond that you have with that particular person. And so, in terms of being, vulnerable, it's not easy, but I also am comfortable with who I am, and I don't give anybody anything that they can do to kind of harm me. So if I give you some things and I tell you certain things, you know, if we're having a conversation, you bring it back up to me, I just go, huh. So now I know that this is not a safe place for me, and I'm able to move around. When it comes to relationships, I've learned to understand my worth enough to make people work for me, and I think work or to pursue me and allow them to come to me, and I'm not being easily impressed. I think that's a
Okay.
piece of that's a part of being vulnerable too, and just saying I know what I'm worth.
Okay.
I know I deserve more. Not saying that what they're giving is not enough, but it's like I am this kind of person, and I'm willing to offer this to somebody. They should be willing to give to me, and
But,
allowing myself to receive it.
but what if they don't know? What if they don't have that level of capacity? Or I heard a scenario. I mean, an analogy basically said, what if your capacity
Mm-hmm.
is way bigger than the other's person's capacity. Say your capacity is
Yes.
a gallon, his capacity is a liter,
Right.
and he's giving you all he got, but it's
Yes.
still not fulfilling your gallon.
Okay.
So what do a person do in that situation? And you really like a person.
Now, when it comes to somebody's capacity to be able to give, I believe that your capacity can grow. It can fluctuate.
Okay.
Some people have gone through things and their capacity was a gallon, and now all I have to offer you is a quart, or now I have to offer you is a cup,
Okay.
because that's where I am right now with what I have to actually offer. But it depends on whether or not that person wants to stay at that particular capacity if you're pouring so much into them. And then sometimes we have to realize when we date certain people and things are a little off, sometimes we may be giving to people and it might just be a donation. Meaning, like, are
Okay.
you okay knowing that I give you X amount of everything and then you're saying, hey, all I have to offer you is this? Understand that that will be a part that you're going to have to be okay with. So everything else that you offer is extra is donation. You're not going to get that back.
Got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. So let's talk about balance, right? Because I'm asking you all the hard questions right now because
I'm prepared.
you talk about it. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying? So
yes.
by you talking about it, I just have questions because other women and other males want to ask these questions. Balance.
Yes.
And we talk about two types of balance, right?
Okay.
We're going to talk about balance with your personal life
Yes.
and your career, right? And we're going to talk about balance therapy, your feelings, right? So how do you balance? Let's talk about your career and your education. How do you balance that?
So I am recently learning, about leadership as I'm walking into certain spaces, and you have to have boundaries. And I didn't understand how important boundaries were until you had somebody cross them. And I find myself, I'm loyal to a fault. I'm a giver. And so when I found that my boundaries were being crossed and I didn't have enough time for me, I had to put these up. So again, what I do is not who I am. It's what I do. And you have to be able to distinguish between the two. And that's what's been able to help me. Just making sure that I have time for me and what I want to do, because this is my life too.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, I don't want time to pass by and I look up and I'm like, how did I get here? I've breezed through everything. I have all this stuff to offer, and then now I don't have a life to show for it. So now, what else is left? So you have to be able to, I work. I keep work at work. I don't bring it. I'll try my best not to bring it.
So you have work-life
Past a certain
balance. So you
Getting there.
Okay.
Getting there.
You're learning.
Learning.
Okay.
Learning. Because every time, and to full disclosure.
Full disclosure. Let's
Going
talk
back
about it.
into the classroom, I needed this school year, this 9 months, to get myself together.
Okay.
Like, I was emotionally and mentally drained. And so I was like, let me slow it down, get a lot of the other things done that I need to get done, and then I'll be ready to speed back up again.
Okay.
Not chasing after titles and other things that I was offered, but like really taking 9 months for me. Yes. I have worked my way through literally all of my issues just so I don't have to think about them.
Right.
And worry about them. So it's providing yourself time to say, let me unpack this. Let me process this and figure out what I need to do. And the mental health concept is going to therapy. A lot of people don't want to go to therapy, and my therapist is a white man from South Louisiana. I know. I know. I went and I looked on the website, and of course I prayed about it. But
White man, hold on now.
I know. Well, hold on.
Hold on.
It's a black-owned. It's a black-owned
Got some explaining to do
therapy
here.
company, I know.
All right.
But when I looked at what he was great at, taking things apart, I was like, I might as well try, and I have laughed more than I've cried in therapy.
Okay.
Like, there's so many things that he's given me, and he showed me that mental health goes outside of, your cultural ideas and aspects. There's a lot that he understands, surprisingly, and I had no idea, but there's a lot that he understands about, just being a black woman and what that means, outside, like, cultural-wise.
Right.
He's like, I understand that this is what the world may want you to believe about, being a black woman and being strong. He's like, but is that what being a black woman means to you? He's not telling me, hey, this is how you need to behave. It's like, let's dive into it. Don't hide behind the culture as to why you are behaving the way you are.
So what does that mean? What does that mean?
For me, I love being a black woman because I love our versatility.
Okay.
And our ability to nurture and love. I think being a black woman is a staple, but as a collective, we have to change the face of how people view us. We have to all decide to enter into that soft era. We have to hold ourselves accountable for our healing, and we have to stop being angry and bitter.
Ooh, ooh. Don't say that too loud.
I know, I know, I know, I
Being
know.
angry, guys. Stop being angry.
I don't, but when they talk about entering soft area, that's a buzzword. First it was sapiosexual, now it was toxic and
Yes.
dysfunctional. Now it's soft area. But in order to do that, I said I am tired of being angry. I'm
Mm.
tired of being upset. I'm tired of trying to be all in defensive mode and tensed up and trying to fix and heal everybody. I'm gonna take this time for me, and I'm not gonna explain it.
So, that journey, how long did it take you to get to that journey? And is it a continuous journey, or is it like something that you just said, bam, the light just came on and said, "Ooh"?
No, this was a 4 years with the full disclosure, like actually being on this journey, and about 2 with being able to let go.
Okay.
Like in 2021, I felt like I went into that understanding the art of letting go, because it is like there's certain things that I just released and I would throw stuff away and remove it out of my life, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a weight was taken off of my shoulders, because there's some stuff we hold on to because we are grasping onto our moments of happiness,
Right.
and I feel like that's how hoarding happens. Or like you feel like you holding on, like holding on to things because you thought that I long for this area in my life, even though it's full gone. I long to be with that, how I felt when I was with this person. I long to feel how I felt at this particular time in my life, and then you don't move from it. And so when I decided that, I think maybe about a month ago, I was like, you know what, and having the right people around you and the right partner
Right.
will motivate you, even if you can't do it for yourself, and say, you know what, I think I do need to make a change, and I'm okay with that. Like,
I
I
never
think,
heard of that. You said hoarding your happiness.
yeah, hoarding your happiness.
I never heard of that before.
Yes,
So you think you think people that have happiness, they hold that happiness in for that moment and they keep it?
if you've had trauma, or if your life has been like a roller coaster, I'm going to hold on to the happy moments.
The
Yes.
hoarding your happiness. And you stated something earlier. You said the art of
Letting go.
letting go,
Yes.
right? Could you kind of expound on that? Because one, we could let it go, or we say we let it go, but we really have it in our subconscious.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it
So
never
we,
goes away.
we like really, for instance, a good example, when couples are together and they get a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of course, they did that back in high school, but they can't let that go,
Yes.
right? So now their further life is predicated on what happened,
In the past.
right?
Yes.
So could you expound on the art of letting go?
So I thought about this because I moved out of my apartment for whatever reason in 2021.
Okay.
Ended up moving back with my parents because I was trying to save up for a house, and I was like, I'm supposed to be further along. When I tell you I went into depression, like hit. I was like, I'm a failure. I don't know why I did this to myself. I don't know what's going on. And then it was like different things happened financially to where I just couldn't get a break. Like I was, trying to get my principal certification and paying for that out of pocket. Some help with my dog, so on and so forth. And I lived in that. So the happiness I held on to was I put all my stuff in a storage unit for my apartment. I did not touch that storage unit for like a year and a half until recently,
Mm-hmm.
because I felt I didn't want to see it, because I was like, man, this just lets me know how far I've fallen.
Mm.
I don't want a reminder of where I used to be. So I just don't want to see it. I don't want to talk about it. However much money it takes to pay and keep it, that's what I'll do. The hardest thing I had to do was open up that storage, and I just started bawling because I needed to face it.
Okay.
But the best thing I did after that was like, okay, now it's time to clean it up. You haven't touched it in a year. Everything has to go. So I had a donation pile in one part, trash in the other part. And I was like, I'm thankful for this moment. Yes, I'm so glad I had my part. I had all that freedom that I went through and got through, and all these different events. But it's time for me to make room for where I'm going next.
Correct.
And I think the reason why I remain stagnant and I haven't really truly spread my wings, as they say, is because I was holding on to these moments so no other moments could come. I forgot that I could make my own happiness.
That's good.
So so letting go was, I'm never going to see that again. I made it to the point where whatever goes, either it'll never touch my hands again.
So it's funny you said that, because today, and this is today, so I'm always gone from home for work.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you're in the situation, like you just in a location and you see
Yeah.
the same thing over, so it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a refrigerator in our garage, right? It's basically a liquor refrigerator,
Right.
right? For recreational purposes. So, but
The drink free drinks.
I haven't looked in a refrigerator for like 2 months, right?
Yeah.
So the last time I like looked in the refrigerator, I knew it was in there. I had some, some old stuff in there that I just said we might need this for later on.
Right.
So I looked in it today for the first time for 2 months, and I just threw everything away. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why I'm holding on to this stuff, and I don't never use it, never utilize it. I just threw it all away, and the
Yeah.
whole refrigerator is empty now,
Yeah.
right? But I thought about what you were saying. I was like, I was holding on to something because I was seeing it every day,
Yes.
and I thought it was normal.
Right.
So sometimes people might, and I don't know, you probably could help me with this. Some people probably need to get away from their situation
Absolutely.
so they can realize, okay, this is not what I need,
Yes.
right?
And it's scary because when you nobody likes to hear the truth about themselves, and nobody ignorance is bliss. There's several times when that's the case because depending on how bad the relationship is or how bad the situationship, like you don't want to see just how bad you've fallen
Right.
until somebody takes you out of that environment. They go, I need you to see something, and then it's like you can't go back. And so now it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I just break down and cry? Or do I actually do something about it? We do that with ourselves. We go past it and we look at ourselves every day, but we have been so upset and depressed, and this is what's normal,
Right.
that we don't want to address it because it's like, well, I don't really remember when I wasn't like this. Or I don't remember, my room will get junky whenever something's on my mind because I'm just going through the motions.
Right.
Until I stopped and I looked at my room. I said, now, how in the world? Who put this here?
Right. Right.
I'm looking around like, what? Because it's so not like me. But when you're in it, you can't see it. So I encourage people to go outside of that comfort zone, or to definitely look at a different school of thought and say, is this really what's best for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this the healthiest that I can be for myself? And then how can I fix it? We all have to do some kind of reflection because reflection leads to gratitude. And then you're able to kind of address and be accountable for where you want to move forward.
Let me ask you this: in terms of, I know that you said that you was dating,
Uh-huh.
right? And we were speaking off camera, and you told me about 4 or 5 times, and I was ignoring you, but I heard you. It's like, well, I have a new boo now. So
You see, don't be talking about I said it 4 or 5 times. Not see.
So look, you got a new boo now. So
Yes.
now, so do you think all these experiences led up to this moment?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
what was it about this individual
Oh.
that made you decide, say, okay,
So
this is him?
I've known him 9 years,
Okay.
and we've been friends, but we were at a distance, and I'll come back to that. So he was traveling for work and everything. So over 5 years, all we did was text, talk on the phone, and FaceTime.
Okay.
I had been around him, he had been around me, but our schedules never matched up.
Okay.
But through that, I saw him through all seasons. Like, he saw me when I was like going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with him. And he never judged me. He always looked at me with this unconditional love. And when I first met him, we laughed because I was like, well, how come we hadn't figured it out beforehand? And I told him straight up, I said, honey, I would have not been able to accept your kind of love. I was real rough around the edges, and that I could give it, but don't give it to me. Because I didn't understand that. That unconditional love, I wasn't used to that. And so I had to grow up, and so did he. And so him being my friend and kind of showing me what love like that could be, and me not pushing him away but actually embracing it, really is what was a determining factor. And for us, when we were sitting down and we had a whole discussion, I guess that's what you do when you're grown.
Yeah.
Are we
Talk about
doing
it.
this, or because he's such a good friend, I didn't want to ruin that.
I got you. Yeah.
And one of the things that I told him, my pastor told me, she said, Amanda, you always think it's either or, but it's and. And I'm like, what is this lady talking about? Like, she's lost her mind. But she was saying a lot of times we think we have to choose between career and marriage and kids. And it's not an either or, it's an and. And I think you are with someone, and I don't want to get on a soapbox, but we pick people and then we try to change them and move them towards what we want them to do and what we want them to want.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you get a regretful yes every time, because I knew this is not what you wanted, but I'm going to will me a relationship anyway. And so for he and I, my thing was, I don't want you to look back and say, man, if I wouldn't have been with her, I would have been X, Y, and Z along the road. So for us, it was like, it's not either or, it's and. So if we're going to be in on this, sacrifice if we have to. But so far, nothing's come up to the point where we over communicate.
Okay.
You know, we have discussions. We don't let anything last overnight. And it's work that we've been putting in. We've had some, not arguments, but we've had some intense discussions because he's healing and so am I.
So what's the goal?
Marriage.
Okay, marriage is the goal. And then when? And then what?
Marriage. And I want to enjoy, I'm big about enjoying my stages now.
So what's the time limit?
You know, I don't have one anymore.
Okay, so 20 years.
20 years? Oh, no. Listen, the God I serve. Listen, with my tithes and offerings set up. See, I had all the sense in the world when I came in here.
Well, look.
He done got me. I done had to move around, readjust myself. That is crazy.
You said I gave you. You said no time, so I
See,
said
I'm
20
choose
years.
not to let that bother me. See how I'm practicing when I'm preaching?
Hey, look, do not go home and tell this man like we're not waiting 20 years to do this thing.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
But when I would say one of the most powerful forces in the world is a man that has made up his mind.
Okay.
You cannot talk a man out of anything once he's made his mind up. Say y'all can fight me on it. I'm not lying to you. When a man say he done, he done.
Right.
He don't have to explain himself. He not about to. You can cry, fuss, whatever you want to do. And he says he wants to really love somebody and wants to be with that person. Regardless, come hell to high water, that's exactly what he's gonna do. You know. So I'm just like, I told myself, I want you to be sure that you're sure about me.
Okay.
Do what you need to do.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, I said I want you to be sure.
I want you to be sure
that you're
be sure about me.
Yeah, because if I'm really what you want, you're gonna go after it. You're gonna pursue it.
That's real.
Yeah. So I'm like, and I know what I bring to the table. You know, I know the kind of woman that I am, and if that's what he wants, it'll show. And his actions have shown. Okay. Little, big. You know, I'm not just looking for we got the ring, but we are putting in a foundation for not just the wedding, but the marriage.
Got you. If you ever come to me for words of encouragement or advice,
yes.
Now my advice is unorthodox. Now
I was.
It's unorthodox.
That, but you know,
so look,
when you start laughing, I know it's.
I think this is what I think. I think that every couple, right? Every couple before they get married, they should have their own places.
I agree.
Even when they're married.
Even when they're married.
Yes, because it's going to be a time where you want to hit them up the head with a bat. Vice versa. So you need somewhere to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To cool down. Of course, y'all gonna come back to the same, location, but you need somewhere to go. And I ain't talking about to your cousin, sister, friend.
Yeah, because that can be iffy. Yeah,
right.
You got other people involved in your
Correct.
stuff. Yes, yeah.
Because you just need it. You just need your own space.
Right.
And I say when it's yours because it's yours.